Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest in exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
This is Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com. And this is a windshield wiper. Now, it seems simple, but even master mechanics I know get confused about what size they need and how the thing comes off and goes back on. And the windshield wiper process can be so cumbersome. So how have you, Keaton, at Windy Wipers made the whole process easier?
At Windy, we actually ran into the exact same problem, and that's how we started the company. So it really boils down to a couple things. One, people I think get tired of the actual performance of the blade itself. And two, people find it very confusing on how to actually install them, what kind of adapter to use, and where to buy the blades.
Let's first talk about performance. I know folks let it go a year or two before they get new wipers. How often should they be changing their wipers, and what are the telltale signs that they need to change them?
Definitely. I mean, that's very common. I'd say most people probably are overdue for a change wiper. When we started Windy and I needed to replace the blades on my car, it had probably been over 2 years since I last replaced them. So generally, people replace them about every year. If you live in a pretty harsh climate, you might replace it every 6 months, say a really arid desert. But the telltale signs of being able to replace your wiper are you start to see streaking or smearing when it's working, and in some cases, if it gets bad enough, you might see your little rubber strip come off and start flailing in the wind when you're driving.
The method that I have always used for buying windshield wipers is you go into the store and you think, all right, that one's cheap, that's what I'm gonna get. So how are wipers all different? They're not created equal.
Yeah, that was the exact same method I used. When I had to replace the blades on my car prior to us starting the Windy company, I went to the auto store, had them look up. They showed me 24 different kinds of wipers and 24 different price tags and 24 different features, and I had no idea what to get, so I went with something solidly in the middle. But the actual wiper itself can vary with a few different parameters, but the material of the blade is definitely important. We use 100% natural rubber, which is a pretty malleable component and molds to your windshield pretty well. And we also use a flexible spring steel that pushes it down against your windshield so you won't get any gaps when it's wiping or any streaks or anything like that. Our fins, the outer casing on the wiper, we actually infuse with a polymer over the top of it, so it's very durable. So whether it's snow, sleet, hail, cats, dogs, it'll protect it from everything.
You have 10,000 or so applications on the website, which is amazing. So 10,000 different makes and models. So you've probably got one for everybody. The adapters are something that's super tricky. When you get a windshield wiper at an auto parts store, you get this bag full of little adapters, and it's hard to tell which one goes on your vehicle. How do you make that easier for folks?
Yeah, that was one of the biggest problems we heard when talking to people about windshield wipers. So our wipers actually come pre-installed with the correct adapter for your particular vehicle. There are actually a little over 20 different kinds of adapters. These are just a few of the most common models here. But for all of our vehicles, every customer that purchases our blades, we pre-fit the correct adapter on, so they don't need to fidget with the bag you mentioned of 20 different types of adapters. It's just the correct fit for their car, and they can get on and go.
Very cool. So let's take a look at what we get here if I order on windywipers.com. First of all, this is super handy. Get the card with the QR code.
Yeah.
So if I need to figure out how to install the wipers, you guys have an instructional video to show me.
Exactly.
And it's got my specific type of connector on there, the sticker, that's important as well. And this is one like we're gonna install back here on this Toyota. And inside, get the wiper ready to go. And as you mentioned, it has the exact connector to fit the vehicle we're gonna work on.
Exactly.
And of course, the sleeve here, by the way, folks, you hear a lot of folks that don't remove that, so you're gonna need to do that, and then you are good to go.
Exactly. Yeah, we put the protective sleeve on our blades when they ship, just because we ship directly to people's front doors. Just order from your couch, get the wipers at home, and it just keeps it safe during shipping, but definitely make sure to remove it before you install it.
Well, it says wipers made easy right on the box. Let's find out how simple that process really is once you pop it out of the box here, Kyler. First of all, this is a Toyota. It's a daily driver, but you guys have 10,000 different makes and models that you cover. What's the range of vehicles we're talking about here?
Yeah, that's correct. So we've outfitted everything from Lamborghinis to snowplows and just about everything in between.
And let's talk about locations. Where can we find your wipers? Where have people bought them around the world?
So we currently sell wipers in all 50 states. We even have a pair in the Congo, if you can believe that.
That's amazing. So good test bed in the jungle. And
yeah, so they will hold up to Amazon rainforests.
You bring up the rainforest, and that reminds me, you get wipers, from the auto parts store, and you've got 6 million pieces of plastic that come with it, including those extra adapters in the packaging. What are you doing at Windy Wipers to stay more green?
So with our blades, we pre-fit every wiper with the correct adapter to fit directly to the vehicle's wiper arm. So there is no wasted plastic, and then everything, including the rubber on the blade, is completely recyclable.
If you go to windywipers.com, you're going to find premium wipers at a great price that you are going to love. Wipers made easy at windywipers.com. We'll return next with more Motorhead Garage presented by dragonfiretools.com, so don't go anywhere. Motorhead Garage is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics, PaintedAutoBodyParts.com, the leading U.S. auto body parts online store, and by Custom Auto Sound, audio for the great classics, customs, and street rods. Hey there, Motorheads, what's happening? This is Motorhead Garage. You can get into a vehicle, and if it's cluttered and messy, you can live with it. But if that car or truck smells bad, well, that's going to ruin your whole day. Just think of the nasty smells you've encountered in a vehicle, maybe old food in a car, mildew in a boat or RV, that wet dog smell in a pickup truck, and the worst, at least for me, is the smell of smoke in a vehicle. It is the worst. You can use sprays or air fresheners. They don't get rid of the odors, but they just mask them, sort of, and only temporarily. With air fresheners, strong odors never truly go away, and they come back after a short while. But Dead Scent eliminates the odors altogether. Let me say that again. Dead Scent eliminates odors. And another reason my family won't use any of those other air freshener sprays, well, all those chemicals. A Washington Post article says that your average air freshener emits 100 different chemicals every time you spray it. No thank you. Dead Scent's formula is simple and it's environmentally safe. Now, Dead Scent uses the power of chlorine dioxide. Those chlorine dioxide molecules actually break up odor molecules entirely, and that is how Dead Scent eliminates the bad smells for good. So it's safe, but does it really work? Now, I've used it myself on numerous occasions, and I swear by it. So does Dead Scent customer William E. He said he was skeptical at first because there are so many products out there, but he decided to give Dead Scent a try, and he said that one treatment eliminated years of smoke odors from his mother's car. It's 1,000,000% recommended according to William, and he is now a believer. So is Brian R. Brian says he had a mildew problem. He saw Dead Scent right here on Motorhead Garage, in fact, and just like that, no more mildew smell. Ryan wrote in and he told us that his new puppy had an accident in Ryan's brand new car. Ugh. And the detail shop wanted $500 to take away the smell. So Ryan rented a carpet scrubber and he tried another product that claims to eliminate odors, but he used one treatment of Dead Scent and the next morning, not a whiff. The smell was totally gone. Those guys use Dead Scent, and so do professionals in the trucking business, in hotels, in stores, and in car dealerships, especially used car dealerships. They save money and they save time because Dead Scent works. So what's the catch? Dead Scent is complicated to use, right? Nope. First of all, it comes in different sizes, so you'll have just the right amount of product to fight odors in your specific vehicle or specific room in your house. All you have to do is open the Dead Scent package and take everything out. You add water up to the fill line. Then you drop the Dead Scent packet blue side down and you're in business. Close the space or the vehicle and wait about 6 hours, or you can wait overnight. Then just open the windows to air things out, and that is it. Now, I mentioned using Dead Scent in your home, and we know that garages and basements can get particularly stinky due to some things we don't really want to mention. Basements often have concrete floors, cinder blocks, or brick walls, and there's usually a lot of exposed wood, and that can trap musty smells as well. Those surfaces are really porous, and they can make it hard to get to the cause of the odors, and that's where Dead Scent's basement and garage odor eliminator comes in. The first step, mix Dead Scent's pre-treat packet with water, then apply it however you prefer. You can use a mop, you can use a fogger, or a sprayer. We had a sprayer handy, so we used that. And the chlorine dioxide solution aggressively attacks and dismantles the odors at a molecular level, breaks them apart. Then on to step 2 to finish the job. It's just like we showed you earlier. Drop a Dead Scent packet into the water, add the chlorine dioxide, and the gas permeates every corner of the room, and your basement and garage will now be stink-free. Take back your basement or garage, take back your car or your RV or your boat. You can eliminate odors at the source with Dead Scent. Go to deadscent.com. Hey, John Gardner does not stink, and he's coming up next, so stay tuned to Motorhead Garage. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, coming to you from the Mouse Blocker studio. You know, we're really proud to have the Mouse Blocker name in our studio because we believe in their products. We have people come in here and leave vehicles for months at a time. They're usually friends of the show. And the last thing we want to do is tell them that mice have damaged their car, their truck, or their motorcycle. Like having their insulation or their seats or their wiring chewed by mice or other rodents. Pests are just looking for a comfortable place to nest. There's a lot of tight spaces in your vehicle. It's really inviting. And while the mice are in there, they chew everything. Mouse Blocker products emit ultrasonic waves, and that makes things uncomfortable for mice, and it chases them away. And you can find out more about all of this at mouseblocker.com.
Now, Dave Dobson will tell you there's nothing better than cold air conditioning, man, and this trainer's putting out some ice cold air. Welcome to this AMSOIL Tech Tip. We're talking about air conditioning, but specifically the orifice tube. Let's start with the basics. Everything starts at the compressor. Now it's going to go out under your hood out there to condenser. Now the condensers get rid of that hot. You can feel the hot air coming off of there. Stay with me here because we're coming up here to this orifice tube. Now that changes from a high to low pressure, and then we come into the car with nice cold refrigerant. So what happens in the evaporator is the heat jumps off the car onto the refrigerant in the evaporator and takes a ride back to the compressor and starts the whole cycle again. Once again, remember that car is taking the heat in the car and throwing it outside. That's how we make it feel cooler. Right there's our compressor. We go through the condenser, the evaporator, the heat jumps on, and then it goes through. But I have to have a good orifice tube, a good system, just like an engine. An oiling system is key. Now, Len, this orifice tube right here, this is actually all dirty and deteriorated. Oil's carried around in that AC system with the whole refrigerant. If this is blocked, no oil, that's a problem. Engines, wow, same thing.
You know, it is. And it flows very similar to what you were talking about, minus all that orifice tube and all that really technical talk. The oil still has to take a ride through the engine, and it's picking up heat on the way through there. So not only does it lubricate, but it also carries heat away from the engine and away from that combustion source. And if it doesn't do that, it tends to oxidize. When oil oxidizes, you get deposits. Deposits are like a warm blanket on top of that hot spot in the engine. And then what happens is a snowball effect, and it continues to get worse and worse. And eventually, you're going to have a problem that could be expensive.
Well, if your AC system fails, it's going to be a bit hot, but not catastrophic. Len, on the other hand, like you said, no oil pressure, kaboom, your engine's finished. So make sure you're using a quality oil, and you can find it at amsoil.com.
My name is Don McMurray, and this is my 1955 Crown Victoria. I found it in a barn in Bluntville, Tennessee. I had been there since 1973. It was pretty rough, but not bad for the model. I've changed the engine in it and the transmission. The body is mostly original. It's got the original interior. I just dyed the interior and put it back. I've done 100% of it. I put front toe pans, front floor pans in it, lower quarters. I put 13 inches in the bottom of the front fenders. It was all original when I got it. I never did like the motors that come in those things, and so I put a 351 Windsor in it, stroker motor. The car is pretty fast. I used to see an old man and an old woman drive them when I was just a kid, and I fell in love with them back then. Just the body style of it and all the stainless on it. Oh, it's a head turner. Yeah, it turns heads. A lot of people have never seen these cars. A lot of the young people have never seen them, and they always want to know what model it is, what it is, and stuff like that.
Where did the rubber seals and all the rubber on the vehicle come from?
Yeah, I got all the rubber from Steel Rubber, and they had everything I needed.
Motorhead Garage is brought to you by Smeding Performance, building high-performance turnkey crate engines for over 30 years. Dirty Deeds Industries, performance without drone. And by Roadrunner Performance, high-performance hose and fittings. Last time we talked PaintedAutoParts.com Motorhead of the Week, we gave you an update on Jay Blake. He's an alcohol funny car team owner. The big news, Jay is teaming up with Robert Schwab to field a Nitro funny car team in 2026. Now, Schwab left his native Australia in 1987 with hopes of eventually driving a Nitro funny car, but on one of his licensing runs, disaster struck. Fluid on one of his rear tires sent Schwab into the guardrail and knocked him unconscious. He crossed the finish line sitting inside a 150-mile-an-hour fireball. When it was all said and done, severe lung injuries and third-degree burns to a third of his body. Doctors were not sure if Schwab would live, but thankfully he was able to make a recovery. He eventually fulfilled his dream of racing a Nitro funny car, and he became a team owner after that. Now, Schwab has sold that operation to Jay Blake, and the two of them are going to team up with driver Phil Burkhardt Jr. as the Follow a Dream team goes Nitro racing. Now, if you'll remember, Blake is the only blind drag racing crew chief in the world, and that is incredible. And I only touched on Robert Schwab's amazing story. There's so much more to it, and you can read all about it in his book, Racing Hearts and Burning Cars. Trust me, Hollywood could not have dreamed up a more amazing tale. Robert Schwab, he is our PaintedAutoParts.com Motorhead of the Week. All right, Motorheads, hear me out. Now, you've seen the cell phone seat before, but what if I told you it's gotten even better? Now, it's one of the most popular items we've ever seen here on the show. Scott, when you invented the cell phone seat, it was an evolutionary process. You kept getting feedback and you kept trying it out, and you've done that again, an evolution through what your customers have to say. So how has the cell phone seat gotten even better?
So great question. So we had a lot of feedback from our customers. They love the product, but they mentioned some things that could potentially be better. Well, we've worked really hard to make some improvements on the device itself. Not only have we changed the front to make your front navigation buttons more accessible, we've also included optional foam inserts. So some people had a little bit of movement maybe with smaller phones or phones without cases. Now we've got these amazing foam inserts that you can easily put into the holder to work for smaller phones or phones that don't have a case. We also have modified the base. So if you have any type of movement in your cup holder, I mean, because there's, 100 million different combinations of cup holders, of cell phone sizes, plus you have accessories and cases. So we have created these foam strips that you can now put around the base of your cell phone seat to ensure that it fits perfectly and stays secure in your cup holder while you're driving.
Now, that wasn't an exaggeration. 100 million is actually the number Scott came up with using AI to figure out how many different combinations there are. And this, of all devices out there, there are other options. This fits more than any other. Why is it so adaptable?
Well, we just made it really universal, right? It has a flexible set of rings on the base that you can flex from 4 inches down to about 3 inches. You can even modify these to get down to 2.5 inches if needed, and we have that in our instructions. We left the top very open to accommodate for larger phones, phones with large cases. I use a wallet case on my phone, so I need a lot of extra room in there. So we do have this large opening for those types of phones, but of course, a lot of people have very small phones. I mean, you have the newest phone from iPhone is pretty tiny, right? So that's going to have a little bit of movement when you're in the device, which is okay. You can have a little bit of movement when it's in there, but with the new foam inserts, check that out.
Don't try this at home.
So now with the new foam inserts, you can actually put those in there and not have any movement on any different type of phone.
Now, I mentioned this is an evolutionary process, and the cell phone seat looks super simple. But it was complicated to get this design exactly the way you wanted it to. Durability, I know, was also a factor that you thought of when designing this.
Correct. So because it's the only single piece of plastic that does everything that the cell phone seat does on the market, it had to be extremely durable. We're very proud to say this is made in America. We make this in Fraser, Michigan, out of very strong, durable, American-made plastic. This is made by American hands. We put a lot of pride into the strength that we have and the durability. There is a lifetime warranty on it, so hey, if it's 5 degrees outside and you try to squeeze it into a small cup holder and you crack it, we're going to replace it for you.
Very cool. And you have a lot of different options now, and there are newer options since the last time we saw you regarding colors and design. So let's look at some of what's new from the cell phone seat and the cup holder phone holder, the new version.
That's correct. So we've added some new colors, including a wolf gray, a canyon beige. We do have a lot of our original colors, and we're very excited to show that we have these new custom colors. These are hydrographic dipped, and you can get anything from the tie-dye to American flag version. So people are very excited about those.
And it's more than you can see here. If you go to cellphoneseat.com, you can see even more designs. One of the things I love about the cell phone seat is that you can actually still use your cup holder with that. And I think that stands head and shoulders above everything else. I get in a lot of rental cars, the cup holder is the only place to put the phone, and that renders it useless. I'm not able to use it for anything else.
Exactly. You definitely don't want to block your cup holder. That's the reason I designed this. When I first had the idea, I was throwing my phone in my cup holder like most people do. It was bouncing around. I couldn't really see it. The idea popped in my head. We worked for years 3D printing different versions of this to get it just right, and the ultimate goal of to make it fit universally in most cup holders without actually blocking the cup holder. Because hey, we need our coffee, we need our water, we need our protein energy drink, whatever the drink of the day is, we need to have access to it. So this can be used anywhere there's a cup holder between 3 and 4 inches. It's going to work in golf carts. It's going to work in, we've even heard it works in tractors. It's going to work in your cars. It's going to work in your trucks. It's going to work in your boat. It's even going to work at home in your recliner.
And it's going to work with more than just phones here. If you've got a kid maybe with their iPad in the back, you can set that right in there and put it in the cup holder in the car seat and you're good to go.
That's correct. Now your kid's back there, he can watch whatever he likes to watch or play on his iPad, and he doesn't even lose spot for his apple juice or his milk.
Now there are imitators out there. You can go to other websites and you can find a cheap substitute. It may look the same, but the design and the quality will not be the same as the cup holder, phone holder from Cell Phone Seat. The only place to get the real deal is cellphoneseat.com. Hey, be sure to join Motorhead Garage in June for the first ever High Performance Expo in Charlotte, North Carolina. HPX will bring together all segments of the racing and performance community for the first time in the heart of the auto racing industry. Everyone is invited, from high performance industry and tradespeople to consumers and enthusiasts. Hey, that's you. We'll see you at HPX June 3rd, 4th, and 5th in Charlotte, and we'll see you next week for another edition of Motorhead Garage. So long.